All are welcome. All welcome.
I knew this day was coming. Daryl, Mom's finally lost it. Call up Shady Pines.
I haven't lost it, you idiot. I'm setting the stage for this week's podcast. That's some pretty good acting abilities right there, if I do say so myself.
I know I'm going to regret asking, but what's the topic for this week's show?
Curses! More specifically, movie curses. We're going to dive into the long-standing legends surrounding these classic filmographies. You know, murder, mayhem, tragedy.
Okay, but on one condition.
You're not in charge, but okay, what's the condition?
No more voicing the words from the movies.
Don't you tell me my business again!
Jaws is on the list?
No, I just like that line.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Supernatural Tendencies podcast, and be sure to stay tuned till the end for this week's Musician Spotlight, featuring The Black Order. I'm Alex.
It doesn't take X-ray vision to see you're up to no good, Luther. And I'm Christy.
And this is episode 31, Famous Cursed Movies.
Scary movies are one of the most popular genres going these days. From haunted dolls to killer zombies, frights come in many different packages. But what happens when the actual movie itself is reportedly haunted? Or more precisely, cursed. Taking a deeper look at some of these film classics, it's hard to ignore the numerous tragedies, accidents, and even deaths of cast members associated with them.
Kicking off our list of reportedly cursed movies is one of the most well-known, Poltergeist. Released in June of 1982, is a cautionary example of why not to build homes over ancient Indian burial grounds. The storyline follows an angelic little girl named Carol Ann, who finds herself the unwanted object of affection of many spiritual specters. After being sucked into her television, into another plane of existence, Carol Ann is unable to find her way back out, leaving her family terrified and unsure of how to retrieve their daughter.
After contacting a paranormal research team for help and convincing them to set up shop in the family's living room, what unfolds is nothing short of amazing. The eventual rescue of Carol Ann reunites the clan. However, cheers of joy are short-lived, as the vengeful spirits consume the home and drag it into oblivion. The story concludes with the now safe family getting some much-needed rest at the local Holiday Inn.
2 subsequent movies were released, Poltergeist 2 in 1986 and 3 in 1988, and as basis for the curse, many cite the deaths of 4 of the movie's actors as proof. Sweet Carol Ann, played by the actress Heather O'Rourke, the movie's main character, died unexpectedly in 1988, shortly after the release of Poltergeist 3. An undiagnosed bowel obstruction that turned septic caused the young girl to have a heart attack at the age of 12. Her movie star sister, Dominique Dunn, lost her life in 1982, following the release of the original movie, having been strangled by an ex-boyfriend in her family's driveway. She was 22 years old.
Perhaps the most disturbing character among the trilogy's cast is that of the preacher Cain. With his sweaty face, bulging eyes, and sinister sneer, he terrified viewers in Poltergeist 3. Julian Beck died shortly after filming in 1985 of stomach cancer at age 60. The last but certainly not least victim of the movie's curse is veteran actor Will Sampson. Sampson played a Native American shaman who does battle with the evil spirits in Poltergeist 3, saving young Carol Ann from the clutches of Cain and his paranormal army. Sampson passed away due to complications following heart-lung transplant in 1987. He was 53. While the deaths of Sampson and Beck could be chalked up to natural causes, pre-existing, the tragic passing of O'Rourke and Dunn, and the manner of which they lost their lives, makes one start to really wonder.
Actress Jo Beth Williams, who played young Carol Ann's mother, claimed that real skeletons were used throughout the movie. She added that during a particular pool scene in the first Poltergeist, her screams and hysteria were real as she struggled to climb her way out of the water-filled hole filled with actual bodies. Could this be the source of the movie's reported curse?
Debuting to American audiences in 1955, Rebel Without a Cause skyrocketed the careers of three of its main cast members. James Dean, Sal Mineo, and Natalie Wood portrayed socially confused teenagers in a post-war suburban town. Hailed as one of the most significant movies in film history, legions of youth across the country found a camaraderie with the movie's characters, and with Dean in particular.
His death at age 24, a month after the film's release, shocked the nation and sent fans reeling. Dean and his passenger, German Porsche mechanic Wolf Rutherich, were riding in Dean's Porsche Spyder, which he named the Little Bastard, in Colame, California, when a pickup truck turned left in front of them, causing Dean to hit the truck head-on. Rutherich was badly injured, but survived, while Dean was killed instantly. The owner of the truck, 23-year-old Donald Turnipseed, was uninjured and claimed that he never even saw the silver sports car when he turned. Adding an ironic twist to the story is that Dean had recorded a public service announcement shortly before his death, asking people to drive safely, his now famous last words being, "The life you save may be your own." Dean then laughs and adds, "The life you save may be mine."
Italian heartthrob Sal Mineo met an equally horrid end in 1976. Mineo was returning home after rehearsals when he was attacked and viciously stabbed outside his West Hollywood home during a robbery attempt. Lionel Ray Williams was found guilty years after the crime and sentenced to life in prison for the murder. Vivacious actress Natalie Wood was no stranger to film, having been in the business since age 4. But her suspicious death from drowning in 1981 after falling from her yacht left many wondering if foul play wasn't involved. Then husband Robert Wagner, along with friend Christopher Walken, were cleared of any wrongdoing connected with Wood's death, although a fourth party detailed to police that he had heard Wagner and Wood arguing before her disappearance and subsequent drowning. Years later in 2018, the case was reopened, with investigators naming Wagner as a person of interest, but no charges were ever filed.
Now, if you're still on the fence as to whether this movie is in fact cursed, let's add the coup de grace, or icing on the proverbial paranormal cake, and discuss what happened to Dean's beloved Porsche Spyder. After the accident, the tow truck driver, called to retrieve the mangled car, had his leg broken when the vehicle inexplicably collapsed on top of him. From there, the car was dismantled, and parts of it were sold. At least 2 of the buyers who purchased these reportedly cursed parts met their demise shortly after, victims themselves of head-on collisions.
Rounding out this list of supposedly cursed movies takes us back to 1938, with the unveiling of one of America's most beloved crime fighters, Superman. Legend has it that the comics creators, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, unhappy about their legal dispute with copyright holder DC Comics, initiated the curse, willing misfortune and even death to anyone connected with the Caped Crusaders' endeavors. The Fleischer brothers, who delighted children of the 30s with early animation figures such as Popeye and Betty Boop, found themselves fighting and ultimately going broke after adding the Man of Steel to their show roster. And Kirk Alyn, who played Superman in the 1940s, was unable to find work afterwards, eventually passing from Alzheimer's disease.
George Reeves, familiar to fans as the most well-known and nationally recognized actor to portray Superman, was found dead of a gunshot wound to the head on June 16, 1959, in his Benedict Canyon home. Theories abound to what actually happened that night, but witnesses present believe murder, not suicide, was to blame. In 1963, then-President John F. Kennedy signed a deal with publishers DC Comics to appear alongside the Superman character in a series of comics aimed at promoting the president's fitness routine. The project was reworked for Lyndon B. Johnson after Kennedy was assassinated.
Screen legend Christopher Reeve was the next actor to reprieve the role of the Man of Steel, with Superman in 1978, Superman 2 in 1980, Superman 3 in 1983, and number 4 in 1987. Reeve was paralyzed in 1995 after the horse he was riding abruptly stopped, sending him flying headfirst to the ground separating his spinal cord from his brain. Reeve died of cardiac arrest following treatment for sepsis in 2004. Actress Margot Kidder, who played the love interest to Superman, Lois Lane, along with veteran actor Marlon Brando, suffered serious decline in health, mental issues, personal tragedies, and total breakdown of careers following their role in the Superman movies alongside Christopher Reeve in the 1970s.
We can't say for certain that actual curses are the cause for all these tragic tales, but it definitely seems that these movies have been plagued with more than their fair share of mysterious events. Murder, mayhem, and tragedy are the forefront of every intriguing plot. But what if instead of human hands as the source, invisible forces were to blame?
There it goes. There it goes. Never mind the fact that Alex just, left me mid-show here. We're having some technical difficulties today. So just bear with us. We'll get started here. You guys are going to love this show. Cool topic today, famous cursed movies, which I didn't realize there's a lot of them out there. So, but for this episode, because we'll do future episodes,
Oh, hey.
covering the rest of them, but we're gonna cover 3 today.
Ugh, I got hair everywhere from the dogs.
What?
It's everywhere. Yes, cursed movies today. And we chose 3, begrudgingly omitting one that I wanted to, but she just...
Well, because that's kind of an argument as to whether or not it's actually, in fact, a haunted movie
but it
or
was
a cursed
considered,
movie.
But it was considered that for the longest time.
Well, yeah, that's because they didn't know about the
Yeah.
effects of radiation.
Yeah,
and,
so at one
and
point
all
in
of
time,
that
it was
stuff.
technically a cursed movie.
Get off my lawn.
We're not going to talk about it anymore.
Just get off my lawn.
We're going to put it on part 2 or part 3, whatever it is, when we come to it. So we're here today about cursed movies. Do we have anything to talk about before we start? Is there anything you wanted to bring up? Anything you want to add?
I
would say
so.
addendum, but it's a pre-addendum, so would it be like a prologue?
I don't think so.
No, nothing?
I don't think
Nothing
so.
exciting this week?
Oh, yes. Don't roll your eyes at me.
That was loud.
Guys, I've kind of been waiting to release the news, but I'm so incredibly excited this week.
Oh, Kyle says hi.
Hello, Kyle Smith. Kyle Smith.
Kyle.
Kyle Smith. Okay, so I received an invitation this week. If you are in the Findlay, Bowling Green, Toledo area, you probably know who Andrew Z in the Morning is from 92.5 Kiss FM in Toledo. Well, I received actually an invite from him this week wanting to interview me on his show on Wednesday night. I believe it runs from 9 to 10. So I will be on the show, Andrew Z in the Morning at night. So if you haven't liked his page, go over and give him a like because I just love him. He is really awesome. So excited for that. Be sure and join me, guys. It's gonna be a good time.
Hopefully be a good time there.
It's gonna be a good time.
Also, Kyle Smith gave you the middle finger emoji.
Did he now?
Yeah. Kyle Smith is a longtime friend of ours. He's a good guy.
I know where you live, Kyle. Kinda.
Kyle is from Arkansas originally, and we are from Ohio. And Kyle's got a bit of a draw, so it's pretty interesting to hear him talk, being from where we are and from where he grew up.
We love Kyle, though.
Kyle, if you're still here, I was actually meaning to message you this week, and again, I forgot. Kyle paints minis.
I saw that. Those are super cool.
If you're into like Warhammer and stuff like that, he actually paints minis. And I think he's got a YouTube channel going, and he wants to get with you. I didn't know that. He wants to get with you because he wants to do like video editing along with his audio. He wants to do voiceovers on it.
Oh, cool.
Which the video editing part, I think you use Movave. I think it's something that he could do. Is use Movave in conjunction with just like an audio interface. But I've been wanting to give him a shout out. I keep forgetting what his handle is. So Kyle, if you're still here, give me that handle, and I'll give you a shout out right now. Whenever you do it.
Yeah. I didn't know he had a YouTube channel. I definitely.
I think he said it was YouTube or Twitch or something like that.
I'm not well versed on Twitch. I don't. Isn't that mainly for like gamers and stuff like that?
Yeah, but some people are doing other stuff too. So I think is StreamYard available on Twitch too, or Twitch available on StreamYard?
Yeah. StreamYard is just a broadcasting to help. Yeah, because they use Be Live. I think some people even use Zoom for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just I think whatever you prefer.
Yeah. So Anyway, I think that's about it for today for housekeeping, I think.
For housekeeping.
I don't have any. I
Yeah.
don't have any notes here. I just got this table and my phone.
That's all I got. That's all. That's it.
It's been a pretty boring week, which I imagine it'd be for most of you who have stayed in your house all day and all week and almost all month. I don't know.
I'm gonna post this link here for people to.
What are you posting?
The link to the StreamYard to give permission.
Oh yeah. If anybody's new in here, and you jump onto our actual broadcast page that we're doing this from, not a shared one, we will be able to see your comment. But if you don't accept that link to allow us to use the comment, it's just going to attribute it to a Facebook user
or YouTube user.
Yeah, YouTube user.
Yeah.
A generic name.
You just have the little blank.
So we have no real clue who's saying
You'll be
it.
nameless.
Yes.
Really.
But your comment is gold. So comment. Please comment, anybody who can.
Please comment.
Which I still only have private chat. This is like the third show in a row where I do not have access to the chat.
I don't know why that is.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
weird.
this week we have famous movie curses.
Yes. With one of my all-time favorite movies.
Let's go through this first. What do we mean by famous movie curses?
I just had a Don Knotts moment.
Did you?
Yes. Have you ever seen the Ghost of Mr. Chicken?
Not in a long time.
Oh. Let me explain what I mean by that. What I mean by that. What I mean by that is you have to watch it.
I'll have to redo it. So, go ahead. What do we mean by famous movie curses? Give it to me.
Well, you were on a roll there. I was just kind of hanging.
Yeah, but I didn't write this script this week. So what do you mean?
I thought you had something coming. I was like, oh, okay, what's he going to say?
Question. Come on now.
Yeah. Well, these movies are reportedly thought to be cursed. A couple of them for different reasons, but in general, the thesis is the same. The theory is the same that it's. I don't know where, but don't even, because when we were recording this script, inexplicably,
okay,
he had all kinds of problems. Not me. Sailed right through it. Yeah.
I feel like you've done a lot of talking, but you haven't explained exactly what you mean.
I have. Yeah.
What exactly you mean by a movie
What I mean
curse?
by that is, to explain it further. Sorry. Okay. Well, I don't know what is it that you want to. What did you want to say? I'm over here manning comments and
you wrote the script,
banners and pictures.
Well, since I'm explaining
and
her script,
I've got everything here set up.
Since I'm explaining her script, what I imagine she means by famous movie curses is not movies that have tanked the box office or anything like that, but actual mayhem and mischievous happenings happening either on the set or after the set, after filming, after release. So not good things happening to the people who are involved in the movie. So
for sure.
Let's start this out. First movie we're going to talk about today is, of course, Poltergeist. And if you have not heard of the Poltergeist curse,
I can't be your friend. I can't be your friend if you. I can't.
I will not jump on that bandwagon because
I will.
Not everybody watches horror movies.
I can't understand that though. I can't.
And before we get into this, not all these movies are going to be horror movies. I think this is the only one.
Yeah,
so,
I actually have some ones coming up too that not in this episode, but in the future that totally not even remotely related to horror genre.
Mm-hmm.
But yet still.
Now, the one thing I want to say too
haunted.
is even though it came out in, do you have the original? Even though it came out in 1982, if you listen to this podcast coming out on Tuesday, thank you for everybody listening to this on Tuesday. The beginning part, and you already know this because this is after the actual spoken script. The description of the Poltergeist movie in the spoken script is actually going to be just a crap ton of spoilers. But of course, it's 1982, so if you haven't seen Poltergeist yet, it's not our fault. So you need to see it. So
yeah,
go out and see it. I don't want to go through right now the entirety of the way you've surmised the movie.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen Poltergeist, go watch Poltergeist. And we're going to pick up in our script after we've kind of discussed what the movie Poltergeist is about.
Yeah.
Essentially, there are 3 Poltergeist movies, and the curse that we're going to be talking about today encompasses all 3 movies. And when did they come out? The first one came out in 1982. 85?
I wanted to say 85 and then 88.
7? Oh my gosh, where were we?
Something like that. 87, 88.
I see. I have good flows, and then here it is. Okay,
Yeah,
so
see, I can't look at mine because the StreamYard app and Reaper here, I can't bring that up. I can't bring the script up to look at it.
That's okay. So the first Poltergeist came out in 1982, Poltergeist 2 came out in 1986, and Poltergeist 3 came out in 1988. So when we discuss the Poltergeist curse, we really mean the trilogy of the Poltergeist movies.
Yeah. It just kind of carried through all of them.
Nate Fitch, thank you for joining us. I think this is the first time that Nate's joined us. I think he's on my stream. So Nate Fitch says he was always fascinated by the Madden curse, and that's a good one too. It's not movie related. It's about the video game curse for the Madden
I don't think
curse.
I've heard about. Ouch! I don't think I've heard about that one.
Yeah, he says he's sure there's other video game related curses, which is that is a good topic actually.
Really, I didn't even know about that.
Thank you. If we steal that, thank you.
We will credit Nate with that.
Let's go ahead and talk about it real quick since Nate commented. Thank you, Nate, so much for your comment. The Madden curse, like to sum it up, is about anybody who's featured on the cover of the Madden curse. Just bad things happen. Usually their season just tanks or something possibly
not
worse.
Like deadly or anything like that.
I don't think anyone's died.
Wow, I didn't know that.
But like their season goes to crap, or like they get injured or something like that. So yeah, I won't go into it any further right now, just because if it does come to fruition as a topic, then we could talk about it more then. Am I peeking out real quick on the interface? Am I peeking out? Okay, I feel like a buzz. Maybe it's my headphones.
No, I'm going to go ahead. I want to flash some pictures up here. So while we're talking, people can,
Yep.
Because you hear a name and you're like, I don't really know who that person, I don't remember that person from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But then you see a picture and you're like, oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Nate, again for that comment. That is a great topic idea, and I'm probably going to write that down as soon as we're done. So we're talking about Poltergeist movies. Like I said, the curse that we're talking about today regarding this Poltergeist movie isn't just about Poltergeist 1 or 2 or 3. It's about the entirety.
Yeah.
So the first one we're going to start talking about is the first one. And there's no real good way to go about this chronologically because it all kind of happens haphazardly in the telling of the story, or in our telling of the story. So essentially in the first movie, we have the main character. Would you consider that to be Carol Ann?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So Carol Ann is a little girl, and she gets taken to the other side of the paranormal realm, and that's as far as I'm going to explain to the movie. But regardless, we now know Carol Ann was portrayed by actress Heather O'Rourke, and Heather O'Rourke would play Carol Ann in the first and second, right? She wasn't in the third. Was she in the third one? Was Carol Ann in the third one?
I honestly, I wasn't a fan of the third one, so I'm trying to think. I believe so, because I think she died after the third one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe.
We have a picture up right now of Heather O'Rourke in a scene playing Carol Ann.
Adorable little girl. It's just so tragic.
It is. She would actually play, now that my mom had to tell me, in the third Poltergeist 1, 2, and 3, and then she would die, unfortunately.
Yeah, it wasn't too long after, I don't believe.
At the age of 12.
Yeah.
Which is already kind of sad enough, but to know that she actually passed away from an undiagnosed bowel obstruction that turned septic.
And caused her to have a heart attack.
So it's a very unusual death for a child. So that kind of starts off. No, it wouldn't even start off because there's
actually Dominic, her TV sister in the movie Poltergeist, who played I can't remember her name in the movie though.
Me neither.
The actress's name is actually Dominic Dunn.
And she plays Carol Ann's sister.
Yeah.
In the first movie. So I reversed it. I'm sorry for mixing it up. We should have went Dominic Dunn first. So Dominic Dunn would appear as Carol Ann's sister in the first movie. Dominic Dunn, unfortunately, again, is that picture of Dominic Dunn there?
Yeah.
Would be strangled in her family's driveway.
Yes.
By her
an
ex-boyfriend.
Yeah. And interesting little tidbit here. Her real life father, I can't think of his name. I'm drawing a blank right now. I want to say his name was actually Dominic. That with the CK at the end.
Oh, as opposed to Dominique. It's
yeah,
Dominique,
yeah. And he was a famous trial lawyer. Yeah, yeah, very well known. He actually had a TV show on.
Yeah.
I think it started a couple of years after her death. It was kind of a crime TV show.
Oh, kind of like was it John Walsh?
Kind of, yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
So.
Okay.
Again, very sad. I'm trying to. Wasn't she 20?
She was 22.
22 when she passed away.
So
crazy, sad.
Yeah. So both of our people involved with this first movie curse here died. You could say strange. I think Dominic Dunn is more unfortunate than strange. Yeah. It's not exactly strange unless it's put in the context of the entirety of the curse.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain that. It's very explainable. It's stupid, unfortunate. While Heather O'Rourke her death is kind of strange.
Yeah,
and we pair
yeah.
them together, and we're not done yet with the Poltergeist curse. So, in the third Poltergeist, would feature a character named Preacher Cain. And if you've ever seen the third Poltergeist, which I have vague memories of,
That one creeps me out. Cain in particular.
yeah,
and I
you
know
have-
that's like kind of terrible, but
you have this character who Julian Beck plays, and Julian Beck plays this. There you go. It's a perfect picture here. Is perfect
he's
for the
scary
role.
looking.
In that, especially from the beginning, in my opinion, a good actor makes you hate them, makes you love them, makes you
Really encompasses the role, brings out the emotion in the role.
makes you feel the character at times without even having to say anything.
Yeah.
And I think if I remember right, the first time we're introduced to Preacher Cain in the movie, he just opens. I think they just open up the door with him with that vague smile right there. I don't think it's as sinister as that, but still, it conveys this feeling of, wow, this guy, wow, you know?
And then he's like always pouring sweat and his creepy eyes.
Yeah, so Julian Beck played a fantastic character, in my opinion, in Poltergeist 3. He would die shortly after filming in 1985. That's not right. We have a very large truck going behind us.
Yeah.
I think you might have something confused in the script here.
I might have misread
So 1988.
88, yeah.
There you go. Okay. Died shortly after filming in 1988 from stomach cancer at the age of 60. So, again,
He was actually...
and that truck is just
I know,
hauling
yeah.
ass.
He actually was suffering with cancer, and they knew he was terminal when he was in this role.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, of the three so far that we've discussed, this one is kind of not as strange. This kind of thing happens. He was 60 years old.
And they knew he had cancer.
Yep. As unfortunate as this may be, it's not as odd or as weird as the other two.
Yeah,
But again,
yeah.
put in the context of all three of these people being involved with Poltergeist, series in some way or the other, it starts to add up to inconsistencies with logical thinking of what have you.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and move on with Mr. Will Sampson.
Veteran actor, great actor.
Played again in Poltergeist 3. He was played the part of a Native American shaman who would do battle with the forces of evil.
I don't know why this isn't popping up here.
Evil being personified in Preacher Cain and his followers. He would eventually pass away in 19... Again, your dates are odd here.
I think it was the article.
It says 87.
And his picture looks all small.
It does look tiny. I'm going to go with it now, even though it was released in 1988. Maybe he did die before it was released. Passed away due to a heart and lung transplant. Heart and lung transplant.
Yeah.
In 1980s.
I know, right? Is that scary?
I'm not up to snuff with how medical practicing and transplants were in the 1980s, but it would still be kind of tough today to do a heart and lung transplant.
We were talking, Daryl and I, we were talking a couple of weeks ago about cancer treatment in like the 60s and 70s, and I'm like, oh God, because they're just kind of like, well, let's throw no crapshoot, oh God,
Yeah,
it just like terrifies me.
Again, as unfortunate as this is him going through the heart and lung transplant and then eventually not making it through due to complications of the transplant. That again in itself wouldn't be as unforeseen, as odd. But again, this is where I guess this would be our last one for the trilogy.
Yeah.
Last actual death. All four together having dealt in some way with the Poltergeist movie, two of which were kind of odd, and the other two kind of foreseen, or they at least knew the complications or risks involved with it. So again, that is the Poltergeist curse. So I'm going to throw this question out now before we move on. If anybody in the comment section, because I can't see it, A, have you ever heard of this Poltergeist curse? 2, do you think it's a legitimate curse, or do you think it's actual coincidence that all four of these people happen to have died?
Or nay? What do you guys think?
Yeah, give us your thoughts there in the chat, and hopefully she'll shout them out because I can't see them. So let's go ahead. You know what? We're not even moving on. I forgot about this small part here. And I don't know if this is actually true because I thought I heard the contrary. But actress Jo Beth Williams, who played Carol Ann's mother.
Oh, whoops! Let me post a picture. Oh, nope, I don't have a picture of her.
had actually claimed that real skeletons were used in the filming of the first Poltergeist. So this is a very memorable
It was memorable
scene in the first Poltergeist movie at the end there, where they're actually digging a pool, and they don't get the pool quite finished, so it's kind of just like this dirt hole in the ground in the backyard. And this is like, well, it starts raining or whatever, and that slowly starts to fill up, and bodies start coming out because they had built the land, or built the home on the land of ancient Indian burial ground, and then the bodies start seeping up to the ground, and there's a scene where most of them end up in there, right?
That's a terrifying scene.
Is it Craig T. Nelson?
Yeah.
And Joe Beth Williams.
Yeah.
Both of them end up in there at some point, right? Into the hole, or is it just her?
I think it's just her.
Oh yeah, for some reason.
And then just when she reaches the top, she slides back down because of the mud.
Yeah. So she claimed the actual skeletons were used in the filming of that scene. So some have speculated.
Sorry, I'm trying to clear up the screen here.
That's okay. Some have speculated that that's probably where the curse came from. So I'm going to put an addition to that question if you haven't commented already, because like I said, I can't see it. Do you believe in this curse? Do you think that the use of live skeletons, whether true or not, could contribute to a curse like this? Let's move on.
Yeah, because they did, I think like you said, they used live, or not live, but real skeletons.
I'd heard that might have been a hoax though.
She had said that it was. I can't remember what interview. She did an interview.
I'm not claiming to know for sure. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so it was just reportedly that she had mentioned something about, they had used real skeletons as opposed to fake ones, like props.
Okay, so we're moving on now to the 1955 release of Rebel Without a Cause. Kind of an older one here, 1955. And now I think about it, I think we're going to start further and further back as we go along. I didn't realize that trend.
Oh, I didn't either. I was so excited about Poltergeist because, I love that movie that I was just like...
Yeah.
I did. I'm like, I'm not even going to lie.
So we have Rebel Without a Cause, starring James Dean, Sal Mineo, and Natalie Wood. And I'm going to read your description because I think it's a very good description. Did you steal this description? Or did you write this description?
No, I wrote it.
You going to be honest with me? You wrote it?
Yeah, I wrote it.
All right. Good
Why?
Job. Let's see. Because where was that?
After your attack last week.
What was my attack last week?
I can't remember. For all you uneducated people, remember that? No. I don't remember what it was.
No.
And I'm just like, did he just really say that?
For all the people that had interest in anthropology. That's what it was. Now I can't seem to find where I was. Here we go. Debuting to American audiences in 1955, Rebel Without a Cause skyrocketed the careers of its three main cast members, James Dean, Sal Mineo, and Natalie Wood, who portrayed socially confused teenagers in a post-war suburban town, hailed as one of the most significant movies in film history. Legions of youth across the country found camaraderie within the movie's characters, and with Dean in particular. Can I make a confession?
Yeah.
Never seen With the Rebel Without a Cause.
Are you serious?
I know what it is. I've seen pictures, and I've seen movie posters, but I've never actually watched it.
It also has, he plays, I can't remember who plays James Dean's mom. It has that famous line where his parents are yelling back and forth, arguing. Jim Backus plays his dad. The guy from Gilligan's Island, the Lovey is his wife. I can't think. Yeah. And he talks like this. You know what I mean? I think he was also the voice of Mr. Magoo.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But where they're arguing back and forth. And the famous scene of him sitting, I think he's sitting on the stairs, and he's like, you're tearing me apart. That whole thing. You don't have a clue there, do you?
No, I haven't seen it. No.
It's not one of my favorite movies. I'm not going to lie. I just never really kind of got into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Howell. That's it. Mr. Howell.
Oh, someone comment that? Oh, Daryl. Thanks, Daryl. I appreciate it. Okay, so what I want to say here first, though,
Kyle's never seen it either.
He switched over then because I can't see him
anymore. Oh, yeah, he's on YouTube.
Hey, thanks, Kyle.
Hey, thanks, Kyle.
I just bumped my shelf. So what I want to start saying first is how the popularity of James Dean was at its pinnacle when this come out.
He was just, it was like Elvis. I mean, huge.
He was at the perfect time with the perfect look and the perfect attitude for the time in the mid 1950s. And he had come out, and I don't have him specifically with me. At least more than a few movies out at the time that this one had
East
released.
of Eden.
Yep.
Yeah.
So to have what happened next happen was kind of was a crushing blow for a lot of people, especially with the youth of America being kind of personified, especially in this movie with Rebel Without a Cause.
Well, he was so really. I think a lot of the youth of the day really kind of related to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they saw themselves in him, and he was kind of a hero.
Yeah.
Of the day.
Yeah, I mean, we're in this point in history, we're coming on the cusp of a lot of changes. I mean, we're coming out of World War II and we're going into the 60s, but of course you can't really see what's going to be happening in the future.
Yeah.
But retrospectively, looking back, we could see that the how can we say, the norms of society are going to be changing.
Yeah.
And we're going to be split into a dichotomy of kind of an old school and a new school.
Mm-hmm.
In the 1960s. So the gray area of the 1950s, especially with youth coming out, you do have this like what greaser jock mentality. Could I boil it down to that?
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, we have these rebels and we have these, more, I don't want to say do-gooders because I hate that.
That was kind of the breaking down of social norms of the time.
Yeah, and I think that the idea, even if not the physical person of James Dean, really helped push this. Moving on here, right after the film's release, James Dean would die in a car accident at the age of 24. So he was very young when he passed away. Mm-hmm. So that certainly didn't help anything in the tragicness, the tragedy. How tragic!
Are we just making up these words as we go along?
If I can make up a word that sounds like a legitimate word, but me stopping to question it doesn't help it at all.
No.
So, how tragic this incident was with him being so young. My chair is really loud again today. I need new chairs.
Yeah.
Dean would be driving in his. You didn't give me a year. I don't know what year that is. If Ed Romero was in the.
It was a new car.
If Ed Romero was in the chat room, he'd give me the make and model of this Porsche Spider.
Yeah, it was yeah.
But I don't even know I don't know. Was it an actual mass-produced Porsche Spider, or is it like one of those the prototype? Not prototype, but like a first line where they didn't actually have it mass-produced yet.
It might have been.
Because I think it was like a roadster, right? It was
more
like a racing car.
Yeah.
1950s racing cars were pretty awesome.
Yeah. And he had nicknamed it, and I think that was painted somewhere on the car, the Little Bastard.
Little Bastard, yeah.
Yeah.
So Dean would be driving in the Little Bastard, this Porsche Spider, with German Porsche mechanic Rolf Wuthrich, when a truck. Oh, sorry. With Wolf. Why do I stop there? Why do I backtrack to the hardest part of that sentence to try to restart? Rolf Wuthrich would be in the Spider driving in. How do you say it again?
Wuthrich.
Colome?
Oh, Colame.
Colame, California.
Colame, California.
To everybody in California who knows how to pronounce Colame,
I think it's Colame.
I apologize.
I think that's how you say it.
If we did pronounce it wrong, let us know with some type of phonetic translation. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
They'd be driving in the Porsche Spider at Colame, California, when a pickup truck would turn in front of them, and Dean would strike the truck. Wuthrich would be very badly injured, but he would recover, unlike James Dean, who would die nearly instantly.
Yeah.
The owner of the truck was 23-year-old Donald Turnipseed. Which, if this were any other kind of story, I would stop to talk about.
I know you would.
How amazing this guy's name is.
Turnipseed.
I just imagine coveralls, some type of like 1940s hat, the ones that are just like flat with a tiny bill.
Yeah.
And then like something sticking out of his mouth. I don't care if it's a cigarette or a piece of hay or a toothpick, but something
is there.
That's why I imagined him. He would claim that he never even saw the silver sports car coming.
Yeah.
So now we have, and I'm going to give it to you now, not one, not two, but 3 movie curses all in one right here. 3 curses wrapped up in this one movie curse. Because we have James Dean dying. Is it 3?
Yeah.
1?
Well, yeah.
2 movie curses. Okay, 2.
Yeah.
2. Where James Dean would have passed away with this car accident. And then after this, and this could be a story all its own if you haven't heard about this story at all, would be the curse of the Little Bastard. Mm-hmm. After James Dean had passed away in the Little Bastard, the car was parted out and sold. And it said, even though I think a lot of this is not technically verifiable, but it's kind of like commonly known, that parts of Little Bastard were used elsewhere, and at least 2 people have died in head-on collisions with parts from the Little Bastard.
Yeah.
So there's your second curse.
Well, and the tow truck driver who came to
that one too. Sorry,
retrieve the mangled car after the accident was the car inexplicably collapsed on top of him, and broke one or
His
both
leg. I
his
think it was just
leg.
one leg.
Yeah. So
So let me reformulate my sentences since I can't tell a story today. James Dean passed away in the car accident. The tow truck driver comes to get the wreckage. The
boom.
wreckage falls on him and breaks his leg. I think it's my headphones. My headphones are buzzing. Breaks his leg. Breaks his leg. Breaks his leg. And then the little bastard is parted out. And then two more people die from the use of said parts in head-on collisions. So we have this massive trickle down. I want to say spider web, but that's still like it's poor spider. I know I like tiebacks and puns and plays on words. I'm not going to use it though. So we have that. So that's not actually like ixnaying another show on the little bastard itself, because I think there's a lot more to that story than we could have covered with movie curses.
Yeah.
But you get a buy one get one today. So you're welcome. Who we have next? Sal Mineo?
Go back to James Dean. You might have already said this. I don't remember you saying about the public service announcement.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Interestingly enough, Dean had recorded a public service announcement shortly before his death, asking people to drive safely. His now famous last words being, "The life you save may be your own. The life you save may be mine."
Yeah, and then he laughs in between there.
And
it's really creepy. You can find it on, just type it in.
This thing always gives me
Google.
chills. Even if I don't like fully jump in to a curse, I don't care. With all that aside, how eerily unfortunate things like this play out. And there's two instances like this. One being this, because I didn't know about this part of it, that gives me literal chills. I just got him and they just left. But this whole thing, because you can imagine him doing that commercial,
yeah,
and then him passing away,
knowing what happened,
knowing what would happen after, and the connection is so close. The next one, and this isn't not at all having to do with our story today, would be that of River Phoenix, Joaquin Phoenix's brother.
Oh, I don't think I know about that one.
This one is kind of deeper. It wasn't actually put out, but I think I had watched. I know I had watched something. I'm trying to think of exactly what it was, like a documentary on River Phoenix. No, maybe it was Their Last Hours or something. There was a show that the last 24 or last 48, it went into like famous people and their last however many hours. I think if I remember how many hours, that was the name of the show. And it would go through what happened to them in the final hours of their lives. And River Phoenix obviously passed away. If you haven't heard of this, I think it was 1996, 1995, something like that, of a drug overdose.
Yeah.
In a club in West Hollywood, I believe.
Outside the Viper Room.
Which
was, yep. I think, co-owned. There was a couple other people, but it was co-owned by Johnny Depp.
Yeah. Okay. And there's so many famous names involved with that story.
Oh yeah.
I believe, I don't know if it was actually the Red Hot Chili Peppers or if it was just Flea, but I think River Phoenix and Flea were talking, and River Phoenix was supposed to play guitar that night with them. I think, don't get me wrong, because I haven't done the research on that. This is just off the cuff. But he was supposed to play with either Flea and another band or Flea and the Red Hot Chili Peppers at the Viper Room, and for some reason they couldn't do it. They couldn't allow him to do it. So he got super angry, and I think if I remember right, the way the show kind of portrays it, that was kind of like the reason why he did a bunch of drugs that night. Was because he was so excited with going on stage with them, and then for one reason or there was like a technical thing that they couldn't do it or something. I can't remember exactly why, but then he got so bent out of shape that he did a bunch of drugs. So I believe it was heroin, but someone had found, and I'm trying to remember the last movie he did wasn't a really critically acclaimed movie. But now I can't remember what that is. And this is what you get for not doing research. But we're throwing it in. I'm sprinkling it in, right? They have one of the last scenes that they had filmed, the cameraman had left the camera running. And River Phoenix was done with the scene or whatever. Well, everyone kind of like left the scene. So River Phoenix was still on the scene, and he was doing something, and he just kind of like looks at the camera. And he like walks up to the camera, and then the camera cut. So they actually had that film, and on that show they showed that film, which is the last time
you ever see him alive.
You see him on the camera, and it's really eerie. And that was another thing that for some reason gives me chills. It's like maybe it's a combination of cinematic crescendoing or what have you, but it's super sad. So we have this in this case. Let's bring it back around, because I've taken a lot of time to go around with this public service announcement that James Dean had. had recorded. And in this case, it is very specific, drive safe. And he ended up dying in a car crash.
So sad.
It is very sad. From there, we move on. Same movie, Rebel Without a Cause, Italian heartthrob, Sal Mineo. Do you want to talk about Sal Mineo, or are you just doing your thing?
Yeah, I'm putting up the post here. Yeah, Sal Mineo is another one that not quite as huge in popularity as James Dean, but in his own right, he was he was pretty darn popular, considered an Italian heartthrob. And Sal, let me get another picture up here. Sal was actually at rehearsal and on his way home. And when he got home, he was viciously attacked in his driveway. I'm trying to think where his home was. West Hollywood, I believe, California. And they thought that at the time, they reported it as it was just a failed robbery attempt. But there have been, his death is one of those that's kind of always been thought in the shadows, I guess, that it was kind of a hate crime because he was
Italian?
No, thought to be homosexual. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Now, was James Dean?
There have been, it's kind of some people say yes. Other people say that he was bisexual.
At the time, it obviously wouldn't have been talked about at all.
Back then. But there were reports at the time that Marlon Brando and James Dean had had relations.
Really?
Yeah, back then. So,
and
but
then
you
Sal
never...
Mineo would be in the same boat?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, is that for
So
sure, or is it just
No,
thoughts?
it's just reports. The police listed it as failed robbery attempt, and I can't think of the guy's name. It was actually years later.
Lionel Ray Williams.
Yes, Lionel Ray Williams. He it was years later that he was actually found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. So,
yep. So that's number 2.
Definitely sad.
For Rebel Without a Cause. From Sal Mineo, we move on to vivacious actress Natalie Wood. No stranger to film, been in the business since the age of 4. Her death would occur in 1981 under suspicious circumstances. And I'll tell you, every time I hear this story, I'm just like,
yeah,
right?
So much of it does not make any sense.
And the names involved, I'll be honest, Natalie Wood, I don't know very, very well. I do watch a lot of older movies, but for some reason I don't.
There are a couple movies that I like. Splendor in the Grass.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I can't think of any more right now, of course. I wasn't a huge fan. Just a little kind of side note here. She's pictured here when they were younger, but husband Robert Wagner was actually because the whole thing revolves around it was Natalie Wood, Robert Wagner, and Christopher Walken, and they were out on Wagner and Wagner and Woods were married, so they were all out on their yacht together, and they had some other people on the bus, on the bus. On the bus.
That's a big yacht.
On the boat, like the person that drove the boat, and then obviously like a wait person or wait staff or whatever.
Yeah.
But Woods was known, like anyone who knew her knew that she was deathly afraid of water. You terrified of water, but you get a yacht. So the night in question, and this was even testified by, I believe it was the guy who drove, or what do you say there? Piloted, drove, whatever, a boat, steered the boat. I don't know. Whoever the guy was
in charge of navigating the boat.
Him, that guy. But he had even reported to police that he had heard the two arguing, late that night. So, long story short, she goes overboard. Nobody knows how she ended up overboard, and they found her body the next morning. She had drowned. So, and I think the coroner report said something like they attribute it as accidental because they were drinking that night. Obviously they're kind of, partying it up a little bit. So they're saying that she basically just had too much to drink, slipped, and fell into the water, and no one knew that she fell over.
Yeah.
Which,
And there was a subsequent investigation.
But it wasn't until, was it 2012?
No. Well, the initial one, there was a subsequent one to decide that it was accidental.
It was accident. They ruled it accidental.
And
yeah. But
and it got brought back up again in 2008 or 2018.
Yeah.
With Robert Wagner still not being charged with anything or brought up as an actual suspect.
Yeah, this time he was listed as a suspect.
Oh, he was listed.
He was listed as a suspect, but to my knowledge, nothing ever came of it.
There you go. Okay.
I don't think he was ever formally charged.
But man, we got Christopher Walken, Robert Wagner, and Natalie Wood. Oh,
I know.
Just blows my mind. But nothing ever came of the one in 2018.
Nope.
And if you are struggling to remember who Robert Wagner was, if you don't know all those old movies, just remember Austin Powers. He was number 2. Number 2. Austin Powers?
Number 2 what?
He was number 2 in Austin Powers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I was trying to think of anything
he was
else.
Old number 2, and then Rob Lowe played young number 2.
Young number 2, yeah.
Yep. And then if you don't know Christopher Walken, I'm just going to come to your house just bonk you on the head.
Right.
Yep. Need more cowbell. Where are we at now?
We are on the next movie. The
next movie?
The last movie.
Okay, so let's wrap up Rebel Without a Cause. Again, we're in the same instance of we're going to see this over and over again. I imagine however many movie curses we cover, we're going to kind of see this, that death kind of happens, whether accidental, however unfortunate or foreseen or just normal. What really gets people going on these movie curses would be the sheer amount of people involved with the same movie. Even regardless of the fact that Natalie Wood died, 20-some years later?
Yeah.
1955 to 1981.
I think she was early 40s, right? Maybe mid-40s. I think early 40s.
We're talking decades after the fact.
Yeah. So is it linked?
How close are we going to actually suspect? Are we going to actually suspect a curse when sometimes it takes decades later for it to take effect?
Yeah.
Or take its vengeance. Real quick, Kyle Smith says he's going back and forth between YouTube and Facebook, and he wants to talk about Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, I had that actually on the list.
But we're not going to do that today, Kyle.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that one today.
You just hold your horses there, Kyle.
Because I had one too, so all we need was 3. We could do another 3-fer.
There's actually a lot of them. I thought, initially, well, I think there's like 4 or so. But no, there's a lot of movies that are reportedly cursed.
You know, I just realized too?
What?
I was trying to foreshadow some of the movies that we were doing without actually foreshadowing them, and you just have them like right on the splash screen here.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I tried. You can't fault me for trying, right? Anyway. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
I don't even remember now.
I ruined it.
I don't even remember now.
And so this next movie, I've noticed when I was reading this script, and then also because I edit all the other podcasts, that you mention Superman strangely often for not being a big comic book person.
Kyle says he thinks they call it skippering.
Skippering? What is skippering? When you get somebody drunk and throw them off?
No, when you're driving the boat.
Oh, yeah. I got excited. Okay, no.
When you throw somebody off a boat,
it's called skippering.
Some people call it murder. We like to call it skippering.
So the reason why I went to that is because I'm going to bring Tara into this. She didn't know what Shanghaiing means.
Oh, really?
When you Shanghai somebody.
Yeah.
So I had to explain what happens when someone is Shanghaied. So that's kind of what my thought, skippering. You get somebody drunk and just toss them off a boat. It's pretty sweet that it has a name, though. So thank you, Kyle, for skippering.
Wow.
Moving on. But yeah, you talk about Superman and you reference Superman very, very often. For not liking,
I'm not a big Superman fan.
I think this is the 3rd or 4th time you've mentioned Superman. At least this time, though, you have a reason. Before, you didn't have a reason.
Get off my lawn.
Anyway, we're going to talk about the Superman curse. Superman started in 1938, being unveiled as one of America's most beloved crime fighters. Legend has it that the comic book creators Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. I've been having problems with words today, but I nailed Schuster. Point. We're unhappy about the legal dispute with the copyright holder, DC Comics. Apparently, they initiated the curse.
It's thought that could be where it originated.
So,
because it kind of got screwed allegedly, I guess, in their view.
We're just talking about you and your little dog too,
you and your little dog,
an actual ritual.
I don't know what they did, man. I don't know. I'm not sure of the actual cursing process.
We should ask him. We can't ask him now, but
you can look it up on Google. Curses for Dummies.
There you go.
I don't know.
It said that they had cursed anyone connected with the Cape Crusaders' endeavors. So the Fleischer brothers, delighted children in the 1930s with early animation figures such as Popeye and Betty Boop, found themselves fighting ultimately going broke after adding the Man of Steel show to their roster. So essentially, they're coming out with all these shows for people to watch, and everybody's loving the stuff that they're putting out. They add Superman, and not really great anymore. So that was kind of the first real thing, with this curse is, Schuster and I cannot keep Siegel kind of got the shaft, and then the Fleischer brothers.
Yeah,
kind of got a hold of it, and we're promoting it and showing stuff, and didn't work out.
And they had real good luck before that. They brought about Popeye and Betty Boop, and the minute they introduced Superman into the picture, kind of tanked.
Yeah. Next to be Kirk Allen, who played Superman in the 1940s, was unable to find work afterwards, eventually passing away from Alzheimer's disease. Now, real quick, explain this to me. George Reeves.
That's who is pictured on the screen.
There's no relation to Christopher Reeve.
They're two different. Yeah, okay. George Reeves, and Christopher Reeve.
I'm not going to lie, because I'm not that much into Superman or DC Comics. I'm more of a Marvel person.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it wasn't Reeves and Reeve.
Yeah. I know. I know. I thought when I was writing the script, I thought, isn't it Christopher Reeves?
That's what I thought.
It's not. It's Reeve.
It's Reeve.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Reeve, posthumously.
Yeah.
Pardon me, I had to take a drink.
But yeah, so next, George Reeves assumes the role. And he is kind of widely regarded as being the most well-known person to play Superman. So, and I think you have the dates there of
his passing?
Yeah.
June 16th, 1959.
Yeah. He was actually found shot in the head in the bedroom of his Benedict Canyon home, which later on we are going to be doing a podcast about the whole Benedict Canyon area and why it's thought to be the different hauntings that are there. Like the Manson house is there. Actually, yeah. And there's more things. Well, it is now, but I mean, that area is really thought to be a huge paranormal hotspot. But we'll be doing a podcast on that in the future. Yeah. That'll be coming.
Are you pounding on the table?
I'm passionate about the topic today. So just get off my lawn.
Okay.
But yeah. So they found him, and there was some hubbub going on because apparently there was a party. He was having a party at his house, and I can't remember who it was that he was dating. I believe she was married, and so it was kind of a side. If I remember right, I may be wrong, so I don't want to say for sure. But so there's this party going on in his house, and somehow he ends up naked in his bedroom, dead, shot in the head. So of course, they call the police. They go up and find him, and there's an investigation. No one is ever charged.
Interesting.
And the Superman role is now open again. Is it not? I'm not trying to be morbid, but
okay, it is.
Who's going to play Superman now?
Okay, so we'll move on to 1963. Then President John F. Kennedy signed a deal with publishers DC Comics to appear alongside the Superman character in a series of comics aimed at promoting the president's fitness routine. And we all know how that turned out for Mr. Kennedy, President Kennedy at the time. Not great. The only thing that kind of falls apart with this end of the curse would be, I believe, they reworked it for Lyndon B. Johnson.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, we didn't lose Lyndon B. Johnson sooner than we wanted to. I don't really care for Lyndon B. Johnson.
I was going to say, a lot of people would disagree with that, but...
I really don't care for Lyndon B. Johnson. I'm sorry. But, yeah. Kyle Smith wants to know, how many people are in your yard?
Not many, because I tell them all to get off my lawn.
So nothing real bad, of interest. Obviously, he passed away, happened to Lyndon B. Johnson, but obviously something did happen to President Kennedy. Moving on to screen legend Christopher Reeve, not to be confused.
Yeah, which I think a lot more of I want to say our generation, but I mean people more my age, some of your age. This is the Superman that they remember.
Yep, Christopher Reeve, not Christopher Reeves, as I previously thought.
No S.
He would reprieve the role of the Man of Steel with Superman in 1978, Superman 2 in 1980, Superman 3 in 1983, and Superman 4 in 1987. And this was something that's been like ever present in my knowledge ever since I was a child. And I don't know why we even had brought it up, but I've known Christopher Reeve and what had happened to Christopher Reeve from a very young age. In that he was paralyzed in 1995 after a horse abruptly stopped and threw him.
Yeah, I just head first.
Head first and severed his spinal cord, so he was paralyzed. He would go on to unfortunately pass away. Cardiac arrest following treatment for sepsis in 2004.
Yeah.
So he still stayed in a lot of the, how do you say, he wasn't in movies or anything like that to my knowledge.
He directed movies though.
Did he really?
Yeah, after a time, of course he went through therapy, and I believe there were surgeries because the fall actually severed his spinal cord from his brain.
Yeah.
So he was a real big advocate for stem cell therapy.
Yeah.
And I believe that did help him.
I think I'd heard that like right before he had passed away.
Yeah, originally he was I'm trying to think. I can't remember paraplegic and quadriplegic, but he was paralyzed from, I believe, the neck or head, shoulder down, chest down. And he was actually able to, he did have some movement in his hands and that type, which is unheard of. Yeah. Because of stem cell therapy.
Very, very unfortunate.
But then he got an infection and sepsis and that
kind of thing tends to happen with you really have to pay attention.
Yeah, because you get sores
and you won't even really know it because you're paralyzed. You don't feel it.
Yeah.
So things can really sneak up on you. But at the same time, like, man, he had to have been able to pay for like some pretty good care, and they still didn't notice.
Well, no, I don't. You just like sitting up like this. You have a tendency to get bed sores. Yeah. On your hips. It has to be every 2 hours you're rotated. So, you never know though. How many times is he in a position where, okay, we don't, everybody get in here and rotate me. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and sometimes it just happens. Skin breakdown.
I don't mean to press blame.
No. Yeah. No. It just one of those things.
Yep. So that would be one of the bigger things with the Superman curse would be Christopher Reeve. Obviously not necessarily dying at the time, but that's a pretty big life-changing event to have your spinal cord severed, becoming paraplegic, and then eventually passing away in 2004.
And what's even sadder, I don't know if it's related to a curse or anything like that, but I believe it was like within a year or two later, his wife died of lung cancer, and she was never a smoker, but they said that she had, I think she was a singer, and that they kind of thought maybe from all her years, performing in smoky bars. Oh yeah, secondhand smoke. That's what did it. So it was like a year. I don't even think it was 2 years later. Yeah, and they did have a young son. So that just brings it. It's even more of the. Well, I know. It is. It's sad. Yep.
Also, actress Margot Kidder, who played the love interest of Superman, Lois Lane, along with veteran actor Marlon Brando, suffered serious decline in health, mental issues, personal tragedies, and total breakdown of careers following their roles in Superman movies in the 1970s.
If you wanted to take it kind of a step further, I didn't include this in there, but with the personal tragedies that Marlon Brando had with his son, I guess he had a son and a daughter, and there was some fight between his daughter and her boyfriend. Yeah. And so the brother comes in, defending his sister. There was a gun. The boyfriend gets shot. He dies. Brother goes to jail. And I want to say that the brother committed suicide in jail. And then Brando's daughter committed suicide herself. Yeah. So just, tragedy.
Yeah, all over.
All around.
Kyle Smith does want to get a bit combative here. He wants to put his fighting boots on. He says she did die from cancer, but it was just a coincidence. We are talking about movie curses, Kyle, and I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't use the word coincidence in today's show.
Wait, who died of cancer?
I'm assuming his wife. Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, lung cancer.
Yeah, she said she did die from lung cancer. From cancer, but it was just a coincidence. But today is about movie curses.
You don't know, Kyle. You don't know, sir.
Kyle, if everything was a coincidence today, we wouldn't have a topic on movie curses, okay? So I'd appreciate if you just snip it. Thanks.
That's what you're doing.
That's what
I'm going to need you to do.
He says, sorry, buddy.
Know your place, Kyle.
Anyway, but Kyle does put up the exact thought that you have to, well, I shouldn't say have to, that one does get brought up constantly with a lot of these movie curses, and we've kind of already spoken to it before, are the coincidences. I'm actually going to quote it from another podcast called Astonishing Legends. I don't know if I've plugged them before. It's a fairly large podcast, very well done podcast out of California. Again, as I always usually do, if you check out our podcast enough and you haven't checked out Astonishing Legends, check them out. Forrest actually quotes it. He used to quite often quote the line that from a movie, I believe, that coincidences can happen, but they mustn't happen too often.
Yeah.
So that's what I will leave. Kyle said, Jesus, leave me alone. Yeah, just speak up, Kyle. That's all I'm saying.
Now Kyle's going to get all kinds of hate mail.
Probably.
Messages, yeah.
Trying to sabotage today's show.
Ding.
But yeah, coincidences can't happen. Why do I have such a problem with the word?
I don't even know what your deal is today.
Coincidences can't happen, but they mustn't happen too often. And to explain that is just essentially saying that, coincidences do happen, but if they happen too often, they're probably not coincidences anymore. So that's kind of the overarching story with these movie curses. I mean, with all involved, whether or not you personally believe that there's a literal curse, whether there's a cause for a literal curse, I'm almost done for today because I still can't talk.
I can't do it today.
I can't edit this out in a live show. Do you have any ending thoughts on the movie curses, whether we talked about it today or just in general?
Not really. I'm still, on the fence, I guess. I guess the one that is really kind of, I don't know if I want to say most convincing, but I would probably have to go with Rebel Without a Cause. The whole James Dean. Mm-hmm. There are just so many facets to that story that I tend to think, maybe there's something going on there.
Foreshadowing from the older generation of, we're going down a bad road.
Maybe.
We're going down a bad road.
Maybe.
Puns intended.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so.
All right, do you have anything else to add today? I think that's about it on my part.
No, I think that's it. Yeah. Great stories.
Yep.
More to come.
Like I said, we did have a few others.
Like I said.
Man, Nate Fitch threw in that one today that I need to probably look into is the video game curses. That's interesting idea.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll credit you, Nate. Great idea on that.
Thanks.
Guys, don't forget, if you haven't already, if you're watching us from YouTube, hop on over and give our Facebook page a like or a follow.
I'm going to one-up you. If you're on YouTube and you're listening to this on YouTube, hop over to our Facebook page, give us a like and a follow. If you have an extra moment, give us a review. Write a little bit about us. If you don't have the capability of doing it on a podcatcher, do it on there. And the opposite too, if you're watching us on Facebook, hop over to our YouTube, subscribe on our YouTube for us. Give us a comment on the YouTube too, because that equally helps as well. So let's trade places for a moment.
The old swapperoonie.
Yeah.
But yeah, and don't forget too that we also have a group on Facebook, Supernatural Tendencies.
Yep.
So if you want even more paranormal, extraterrestrial, and just plain weird stories, jump on over, join the group. You'll find lots of that in there. Lots of really cool stuff inside the group.
Yep. Invite anybody who you may think may be interested too. So it's not just for people who actually listen to the podcast. Yes, we kind of use that as a platform, a jumping off point for the podcast. But we post a bunch of stuff in there. Spooky stories throughout the week. We do some polls, ask you your guys' questions. It's a place where you can weigh in without feeling weird about the paranormal. So if you have no other facet in your life where you can be weird, this is one place that we're totally asking you to do so.
Yeah, and you can connect with us in there too. We're always in there, commenting and answering questions and
acting a fool.
It's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
But yeah. And guys, don't forget to this Wednesday, don't forget to catch me on Andrew Z in the morning at night. So hop on over. I will be on the show this Wednesday I think the show runs from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So jump on over. Give us a watch and a listen. Be sure to give Andrew Z in the morning's page a like.
Yeah.
Because he's awesome.
Yeah.
Spread the love.
There you go.
But I think that's it for us this week, don't you think?
Probably say it's a wrap.
All right. Take care, guys. And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye. We'd like to say thank you one more time for hopping on board with us this week. If you have any comments, questions, critiques, or suggestions for new topics, please send us an email at supernaturaltendentiespodcast@gmail.com. We also encourage you to get over to our Facebook page at Supernatural Tendencies Podcast and go ahead and elbow drop that like button for us. We're also available on Instagram at Supernatural Tendencies Podcast and Twitter at Weird and Scary, if that's more to your liking. please pass us around to your friends as well, where they can find us on Apple Podcasts, CastBox, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and most other podcast platforms.
And remember, if you're having any type of paranormal activity or extraterrestrial contact, I offer private coaching online via Skype or Facebook Messenger to assist you with those issues. Feel free to visit me at ChristyJohnsonSadler.com for contact information.
Till next time, this has been Alex.
And Christy.
See you later.
Now we are.
We're recording now? Right now?
Right now.
We're recording now?
Yeah.
All right. Well, here we are again. Recording now. After our live that we had just done about the movie curses.
We just did.
Done.
Did it.
We did it. It's over. Now we're on to the musician spotlight. And I've been excited about this for a while. I actually waited to ask this band to see if they wanted to be featured. And they seemed okay with it. Not really.
They were okay with it.
Not really. They seemed pretty excited too. So I'm hoping for the same. The band this week is the Black Order out of Defiance, Ohio. And it's funny enough about this, and I've, like I said before, I think whoever's listening to this musician spotlight enough to know that I've been in bands since I was like 12, and I was in a band when I was about 19 that used to play a lot in Lima, Ohio, with a band called the Black Order, and I could have swore they were from Defiance. But none of these dudes look familiar. So it's got to be them in some iteration. I'll have to ask. But we've played, I think, like 3 shows with the Black Order. And this was probably, 2007, 2008 we played with this Black Order? It's just a coincidence, I guess. If not anything, that's 2 bands called the Black Order from Defiance, Ohio. It's got to be them. I just don't know. I don't know any of their faces. So, of course, I got a terrible memory anyway. So, which is why I've switched. That was a super loud truck again. That's the second time this show that we've had a super loud truck. It's like they just run circles around the cul-de-sac here. But yeah, I've been wanting to ask them, but then not wanting to sound like an idiot. And this sounds like, I guess, filled with more idiocy than if I just flat out asked them, because they'll probably hear this if they take a listen anyway. But hey, I've got a terrible memory. That's why I switched from playing drums to bass, because I could just turn down and no one ever really knows. No one cares about a bass player. It's fine. But the Black Order, playing music of the metal variety, just face pounding, just nausea inducing metal, right? Is that would you agree?
Yeah.
Surprisingly silent today. Surprisingly silent. Unfortunately, as with a few of these other bands during this quarantine and social distancing and virus apocalypse that's been going on, they kind of got the short end of the stick with. I don't think they're doing a whole lot of live shows here. Yeah,
it's kind of put a damper scheduled on that.
Yeah, so I don't think they have anything really lined up. But what has kept me in close contact, whether they knew it or not, as I watch a lot of their drummer Cole Miner's videos that he does on Facebook. I think he does them on YouTube and all that too, but they pop up on my Facebook all the time because I follow the band page and I follow him in these videos, and he'll just do like drum covers and stuff. Fantastic drummer, fantastic timing and everything. What are you doing?
You're tapping the table.
Am I?
Yes.
I didn't even realize it.
Like 10 times in a row there. I'm like, I swear to God, if he does it again, I'm going to hurl something at him.
Oh, I didn't know
right at the noggin.
So a twofer for me. I watch a lot of Cole Miner's videos, as well as I'm pretty sure I know this band from back in the day, but fantastic band, 3-piece. I don't know what else to say other than it's just good stuff. I mean, they actually have full-fledged albums available across all platforms. So usually we shout out a Bandcamp, usually we shout out Spotify like that, but they are also on iTunes. So right now, nice. If you're listening to this, if you have Apple Music or iTunes, you can hop on there. I have them pulled up right now on my Apple Music. Give them a listen. Again, I said it last week, and we're going to do it again this week. In the times of who is essential and who is not essential. Give them a couple bucks for their music. Help them out a little bit. I tapped again. I know. I just noticed I
One
did
more
it.
time.
Tapped again. Throw them some money for some good music, and you'll both make out for the better in the end. So I think that's what I got for him today. I mean, it's kind of not eventful with everything going on. So I'm going to leave it at that. From the album, The Great American Overdose, the Black Order has graciously let us use The Struggle. So here is The Struggle. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. Spin it right now.